Hello, friends. Welcome back to A Hopeful Holler Makes podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again here at the Camp Walker. I kept saying Walker Camp last time. It's Camp Walker. So this is not my home. These are not my sheep that are normally out there, but these are my friends, and they have graciously allowed me to be able to come out to their home twice a week. So twice a week I come out here, and Miss Maria, the lovely wife, she and I work out together. So they have a full gym. Pat, the shepherd of the sheep, used to own an actual gym for 10 years. He is a Marine, and he owned this gym. So he himself is quite fit, and Miss Maria wants some of those guns. So we're working on it. So I just have so much energy and feel amazing, and I just want to share some of that because my health and my mental health and my well-being has been something that throughout the years of my life have been quite challenging at times, and I've struggled to find my way to where I am today, and I feel really good. And I think there's a lot of how-tos out there, so I don't necessarily know that I'm going to share a lot of how-tos as much as my personal transformation story little by little in my podcast. This is primarily a podcast all about the fiber arts, and for quite a while I have wanted to just share a little bit about what I think about on a daily basis, and that is my health. Several years ago, well, you know what, I'm just going to stop right there because I told myself I will start with knitting. This is the format, the evolving format that I'm looking at doing is starting with all of my projects, all the things that I've completed or that I'm working on, and then work into some meatier topics that I think are applicable or universal to all human beings. And then at the end, we'll discuss Blue October topics, the band Blue October. So, because they're my fave. So, to begin with, let's just start off with finished projects. So, oh, I didn't say, this is Friday, May 31st. So, tomorrow is Saturday, first day of June. May Mania for all my cross-stitching friends. I got very distracted because I have a puppy. I'll get into that more later, but back to stitching. So this is called a twiddle muff. It just kind of makes me smile to say that, twiddle muff. Yeah, so you can see it has all different yarns and little things that a person could play with or pull or untie like this. So these are really good. There we go. You can see there's a little bell, so it has sounds. And you can also see I left the insides for all of us who don't like weaving in your ends. You can just tie knots on the insides and leave those hanging. So this is basically for anyone who has a sensory, the word issue is what I want to use, but not issue, has sensory things. It's good for people who are nervous, for anxiety. You can just fidget with it and play with it, kind of like a fidget spinner. It's good for people with dementia. It's good for lots of people. And so Juju Knits just put out there that she would like to collect yarn for those of us in her knitting group to make these, and then they'll be donated. And so that's what I did. And there are patterns. I went on Pinterest and I just looked up twiddle muff, and you could see all kinds of interesting ideas of things that people have added: buttons, bells, bows, all kinds of fun things. So, and they all look different. You can put your arms in it. Do you remember that in the 1970s? I wanted to be the little girl with the muffle. Was that what they were called? And so you put your arms in like that to keep your hands and your arms nice and warm. Should we bring that back? I could just see us all pull that out of our knitting bags. So in the winter time, might be kind of fun. I bet we could use our cowls for that, you know? Okay, so that is one finished object. I believe we'll be donating those in July. You can look at Juju Knits on Facebook or Instagram to get more details on that. Then my second completed object is one bohemian sock. So I didn't block it or anything. Just gonna get it real close. And this is from the dearly loved Mustache Yarns. And so I would have completed it a little bit sooner, y'all, but do y'all ever do that thing, you know, where you don't actually turn the heel? So for my friends out there who are not knitters, when you create the tube, so this is where your foot goes in, you create the tube of your sock, and then you just work on this part. It's called a heel flap. And then you do this little bottom part right now. So it's like it holds your heel. Your heel goes in right there. But instead of that, I just started picking up my stitches and knit probably a good 5 or 6 rows before I realized, oh, I gotta rip all that out. So I know I'm not alone. It happens. I've made peace with it. And so anyhow, all I gotta do is my Kitchener stitch. That's a stitch that we use to finish off our socks, our toes, and I'm done. And I love the bohemian color. So I didn't actually get to attend the Wool Slayers retreat. I was hoping to, but I got engaged in that conversation a little bit too late. So maybe next year I get to go to that. I think it'd be super fun. But I did drive down there to Wimberley, Texas, because it is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world of Texas. And it's just a few hours from here. I have friends down there, and I just love Wimberley. It's so healing to my heart and soul. And so when they put out that they were having a retreat in Wimberley, Texas, at Wimberley Inn, I wanted to check it out. So it was awesome. Suburban Stitcher was there, Mustache Yarn was there, Savvy Skeins was there. They had other folks that I should have gotten a list, but everybody was so friendly and so welcoming. Even to me, I wasn't a participant. I went to buy a few things. I got yarn from Suburban Stitcher, and I got my Bohemian sock yarn from Mustache Yarns. And Stacy of Mustache and I had a lovely conversation, and we just talked a little bit about what I want to express on my podcast, and that's some of the things that I feel like we all work through as humans, and then just bringing that to our knitting community. So then that brought up the discussion about Fiberfest. So I failed to mention, I'm coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, and DFW Fiberfest is one of our local festivals. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. I recently put in a submission to teach a yoga class, just a chair yoga class, to our community, because I feel like yoga should be for everybody. several months ago, I was going to teach a yoga class for senior citizens for a dear friend who was moving. I was going to take over her class, and at that time they cut the funding for this class, but I was able to participate and really see what folks 70 years and over were doing at least 2 and 3 times a week. And that really inspired my heart, because I am a true believer that moving our bodies is one of the many pieces for us to really connect to our mental health, our physical health, and each other. And it's not about looking a certain way. It really is about feeling good. And I am not ashamed to say I'm 48 years old, and the vanity of looking a certain way never got me where I want to be or where I am today. It was really after a lot of my own inner work, and I feel really, really strong. And it's not about the guns, though that is kind of fun, not gonna lie. It's about loving my body and loving this vessel that carries my spirit into the world to do the things that I'm called to do, and for you to do the things that you're called to do. And I really want to inspire that and encourage that. And I have a daughter who is 23 years old. So when I'm talking to you, I have her in my mind. I know the struggle is real, and for too long the emphasis on image is real. Struggled with it my whole life. It pops up. It's like the whack-a-mole game, you know, and there's a lot involved there, and I don't pretend to have all the answers. Like I said last time, I just know what has worked for me, and I want to empower, encourage, and share some of my heart in that way, because it's always better with a friend. And so I consider you a friend. You've spent a few minutes watching this podcast, and I just want us together to grow and to be well. And so that is my input into our community, because we're all making beautiful things. And hopefully we're inspiring each other and encouraging each other with topics that matter to us. We've all seen that in our knitting in our fiber arts community over the past couple of years. It's really important that we do this together. And here I am. I'm just part of the conversation. So thank you for letting me. Thank you for being here. Let's get on with some of the projects, shall we? I got into meatier topics, and I hadn't even shown you this. So here locally we have a lovely dyer, and her name is Christina, and she owns Serenity Yarns. And Miss Juju, with the cute pink yarn camper named Pearl, sells her lovely hand-dyed yarn. And I have the honor of teaching a class in August. I'll be using the Grocery Girls inspired shawl pattern, Jody, from Hohi Locatelli. So Hohi, I don't know you personally, Hohi, but hi. The very first time I saw Christina, I thought she looks a lot like Hohi. Please forgive me, not Hoki. No, I would delete it, but I haven't figured that out yet. Hohi Locatelli, the lovely designer that we all love. And her demeanor comes across very much like Hohi's as well. She's very calm, very centered, and incredibly talented. So I'm working on a little baby sweater right now with a batch of yarn that she just created. It was a one-off, but I'm in love with it. It's called Chocolate and Cherries. And this little baby sweater is just precious. I don't have it with me. I will show it on the next podcast. But because I love that so much, I decided to request that she would create a palette for the shawl that I'll be teaching. and that's the Jody shawl by Joji Locatelli. And look at this. So this is color 1. Let's see. Gotta figure out the whole blowing out thing. I see y'all do this sometimes on the podcasts I like. It's beautiful. There's specks of this dark, rich red and brown. And this is my color 2. It's a tonal. Oh, I didn't say the color of this. It is cherries and chocolate. Serenity, cherries and chocolate. So this is a cashmerino lush DK. That's what I'm using here. And there are 231 yards, 100 grams for all of these. Isn't that beautiful? So that's color 1, color 2, color 3. So I literally just started this. And we are having our Knit in Public Day. As I'm sure everyone knows, it'll be over, maybe. Hoping to get this put up today. I'm not doing any editing, like I said, because I haven't figured that out yet. Not ashamed to say it, one step at a time. So, this is my cute little progress keeper. Too close, I know. It's fuzzy. But that is from Sucra Sucra. I'm sure everybody knows all about her, but I love it. So I know I have some folks who have watched who don't know a whole lot about all these fun little gadgets, and I very much love to teach the beginner, and more on that later. But for those who don't know, a lot of times we can use a progress keeper, or I've even used a bobby pin, but sometimes that falls out, or a safety pin to mark our sides. So for example, I'm not going to get into the details and give away the pattern, but one side takes a little bit more attention. So there are specific things you do on that pattern, and then the other side, it's just a plain knit. So I'll say that. And so this signifies, and it reminds you what you need to be doing. So this is my right side. I have my little taco here on the right side. So that reminds my brain it's time to do something here. So I love that, and I look forward to working on that at our Knit in Public Day on Saturday tomorrow with Pearl and Juju Knits in near Southside here in Fort Worth. It will be so much fun, and I'm just loving seeing how showing up and participating and offering what we all love and have builds this amazing community. I have sat back and I've watched for years, and honestly I haven't gotten out there. I do like podcasts, and I'll leave a comment from time to time, but I'm gonna be real honest, I have not gotten involved in some of the podcasts that I really enjoy. And now that I'm sitting here behind this camera, I get how important that is and how fun it is to interact with my new friends that I would have never met if it weren't for this. So thank you for leaving comments. It's been very touching and very humbling and very sweet, and makes me feel like I can keep doing this. So thank you. Boo. I'm a crier. If you've watched the previous episodes, you already know that. So I want to talk about something just for a minute, a deeper topic. I was listening to Oprah Winfrey, Soul Sunday. I love me some Soul Sunday. I love me some Brene Brown and Liz Gilbert. So Big Magic is a book that I've listened to a few times in the last year and a half, and it just really resonated with me and continues to resonate with me. as I move forward in this podcast. And so something that Oprah said to Brene Brown is a researcher on shame. And that is part of my story, in my life story, deep, deep shame. And how that keeps a person back from really fulfilling who they're called to be in this world, showing up, so to speak, being all that they can be. And so I have experienced that in my own life, and I've been aware of how that has played out at times, and choosing to do this podcast and evolve with my community is one way that I'm doing that. And so one of the things that Oprah said, I forget what the question that Brene said to Oprah, but Oprah said to Brene, you cannot live a courageous life and not disappoint someone. That resonated with me to my core, because I was the ultimate people pleaser. And this is a time in my life I want to be loving. I want to be kind. I want to be all that I can be and all that I'm called to do and be. And the recognition that sometimes people aren't going to be comfortable with that, or it might just challenge them. I've had that in my life. I've had people make choices and decisions that I didn't like and I wasn't comfortable with, and learning to process that and recognize that's my issue to work out. It's not theirs. So that's just a thought that I could unpack for days. And I have been living that truth specifically in the last couple of years. I see I'm already at 22 minutes, so I'm not going to unpack it right now, but it is one that I think is worth discussing, and holding that uncomfortable place of knowing that you're doing the right thing in your heart and in your spirit and you're good with it. You feel amazing about that, but knowing that it's causing consternation, I don't know if that's the right word, it's making others uncomfortable. It's something that I think about and I pray about, and then I let go, because I have to move forward. I can't stay the same. That's when all of my tendencies to hide, so to speak, and to numb myself out more pop up, is when I'm choosing not to be who I'm called to be. So I just want to leave you with that, your deep thought, with the lovely trees. Oh, I feel like I should be doing tree pose right here. Oh, I love that. Look at the trees behind me. They're amazing. Okay, so here we are to our Blue October section. So fun things for me. You may or may not appreciate this part. It's okay. Blue October started following me. I think I mentioned that on the last podcast. Well, then the very next day, the lead singer and the drummer, Jeremy and Justin, I'll just start saying Jeremy and Justin, and hopefully if you come back, you'll know who I'm talking about. The lead singer and the drummer, they're brothers. Their mama is so sweet. She said, I'm mailing you something. It's like, man, it's Memorial Day. I'm gonna have to wait a whole nother day. But guess what? It was so worth the wait. So for a long time, I have enjoyed embroidering tea towels. She embroidered me a tea towel and mailed it to me. Oh, look at this. Is that not the cutest? So it says, mix it up. And then down here in one corner, it says, easy as pie. Well, I have blackberries in my backyard, and I had just made a cobbler the day before, so that was perfecto. And look at this little mitten, y'all. She embroidered this for me. I know y'all get it. You make things for people, and not everybody. It's gonna sound so ugly, but I really have come to understand more. Not everybody is knit worthy or craft worthy. I've made things for folks, and it's not all about the reaction, but I guess I tried to be superhuman and pretend that it was okay whether they, you know, appreciated it or not. But it hurt. I'm human. It hurt when I could tell it really didn't matter. So now I'm a lot more discerning. That was a long time ago. I'm a lot more discerning about who I make items for and give them to. Not everybody's knit worthy. Everybody's wonderful and lovely and should be loved, of course, but we know how much time it takes. We put our love, our heart, sometimes our blood if we're working with a sharp needle, into the projects that we make for people. It takes all of our thoughts. We're working out. Let me speak for myself. I'm working out a lot of things. I'm really reaching down and connecting with all the parts of me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so when I give something from my heart, it is a representation of all of me. And so if you have experienced that, where you can just tell somebody is so joyful to receive something that you've made, keep doing that. If not, there's no reason to be the martyr. You're not gonna get extra stars. You may not think that, but somehow, deep in my psychology, somehow I thought that that was a good thing. And now I've recognized time is short. I've got this one life and it's going fast, and I'm going to spend it the way I really feel inspired to spend it. So who are you knitting for, or stitching for, or crocheting for? Is it a charity like the Twiddle Muff? Is it for your great-grandmother or a neighbor who just moved in? There's a time and a place and a purpose for that. So anyway, I just want to encourage you to think about a lot about, are you living your life to please, or are you living the life that you're inspired to live and move forward and be a blessing to others? Yes, but to have that energy and that peace and that contentment within yourself to know that you've lived this day the way you were called to live. Thank you for joining me. Peace out.